What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. As promised today, guys, I kind of had a feeling that we're gonna find out some information about the new Doom Tower champions, because it's long overdue. I think some of you guys need a couple of more days and you're gonna collect the last champion in the Doom Tower. Now, I'm behind probably with a full cycle, a full champion, basically 3 months, something like that. I still need to get some more fragments for Basata. This is not my old account, and because I wasn't on point every day with it, it's just not there. So I'm well behind it, which is fine, doesn't really bother me. I haven't even made a video on any of the Doom Tower champions for the last 3 of them, or something like that, maybe even more than that. People don't care about them, they're not amazing as champions, and it's taking quite a while for the masses to get there, you know, since not everybody can beat every secret room, every rotation and that. But down the line near the future, guys, if you want me to do more guides on the Doom Tower champions, we're definitely gonna do it. Now, I don't have the information just yet about what champions are empowering these champions, from which factions they are, because Plarium didn't actually give us all this information just yet. I asked them, they said they will share the information with us once they're 100% sure that the developers, they gave them the right information. They don't want to mislead us. But I'm going to keep you posted in Discord, guys. Hopefully by later today, we're going to find out that information as well. If you haven't joined my Discord just yet, make sure you jump in, guys. I will be leaving the link in the pinned comments. Tons of stuff happening in there. If you want to improve in arena, clan boss, dungeons, or just generally having a good banter and stuff like that, we have tons of amazing people in there. Very helpful people. So join in there, the link is in the pinned comments. Now, if we're gonna have a quick look at the champions, guys, so we're gonna start with this one. We have 3 epics, 3 legendaries, or 3 champions for the normal Doom Tower, 3 for the hard. It doesn't specify which one is legendary, which one is not. This is one of them. To me, this one kind of looks like a dark elf, sort of a bit of an Egyptian sort of vibe. At least that's kind of like what it brings me. Osiris reminds me of Destiny 2 and the armor. But basically, guys, the skills on this champion. On the A1, attacks 1 enemy, 60% chance to land decrease attack for 2 turns. Fully booked, that might go up to 75%. I don't think it's gonna go up to 100%, honestly. The A2, Moonlight Bonds, attacks 1 enemy, has a 75% chance to land block buffs for 2 turns, and fills this champion's turn meter by 30. Shame this is not AoE. Block buffs AoE is actually pretty solid enough for Hydra. This it would have been welcome, you know. The A3, Blood Moon, attacks all enemies, 75% chance to land provoke for 1 turn, and a 50% decrease accuracy for 2 turns. Now, I'm pretty sure this fully booked is gonna go up to 100%, most probably on a 4-turn cooldown. And we have the passive. When attacked, has a 35% chance of placing a hex debuff on the attacker for 1 turn after each hit. If that block buffs was AoE, this was going to be a nice champion for Hydra. But unfortunately, with that provoke AoE instead, is pretty useless for Hydra. So I think he's a decentish champion. It's not something that I consider more than mediocre. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, that provoke and decrease accuracy is great for Doom Tower waves, but by the time you're gonna get to collect this champion, guys, I'm gonna have a big beard, 5 kids behind me, grandkids, and I'm gonna be walking with a stick. That's how long it takes to collect these champions. That's why I'm not impressed with the champion, okay? Moving over to the second champion, looks pretty cool. This is definitely a Shadowkin. This one is Jinro the Stork. This is, again, one champion from the hard mode Doom Tower. And the skills on the A1, Plunging Beak, attacks 1 enemy, 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 2 turns. The A2 attacks 1 enemy, places a stun debuff for 2 turns, will ignore block debuffs and block damage buffs. So basically, you're gonna land the stun through immunity. That is pretty interesting, actually. Definitely pretty interesting. The A3, Places a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 3 turns and a counterattack buff for 2 turns. Man, I really thought that was going to be AoE on everybody and we were going to get another counterattack champion. But seems like we are not. The A4, the passive, increases this champion's defense each time they counterattack. Defense resets every time this champion gets a turn. When attacking, converts this champion's resistance into additional accuracy. At the end of this champion's turn, places a provoke debuff for 1 turn on all enemies under increased attack buffs. It does sound pretty interesting as a champion. Again, I feel like it's gonna be very niche, very hard to use him anywhere, like for arena or anything like that. For the Doom Tower again, man, by the time you're gonna get him, you're not really gonna need him for the Doom Tower waves or to help you. It doesn't seem like he's doing anything amazing for bosses. You know, that's kind of like one of the main issues with these champions. They're not like a Eurost, for example. Once you get that champion, you know you have the Scarab King sorted out. He's gonna solo it. The rest of the champions we're getting from the Doom Tower, most of them are not very useful for bosses, you know. At least on the hard mode, the legendaries. So I'm not very impressed with this champion either. We have the last one, definitely a dwarf by the looks of it. I feel like this one looks the coolest out of the 3 of them. I like the golden hands, the helmet looks awesome, the whole armor in the front or whatever those pieces of metal are on him with the chains looks really cool. And this one is Gronjar. I'm not even sure how you actually say his name, but looks pretty cool. The skills: A1 attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of HP burn by 1 turn. Pretty interesting. The A2 attacks 1 enemy 2 times. The first hit has a 75% chance to remove any immunity buffs. The second has a 75% chance to remove 1 random buff except immunity from the target. But that's from a single target as well, you know. The A3 attacks all enemies. 75% chance to land HP burn for 2 turns. Also fills this champion's turn meter by 5 for every HP burn debuff the enemy team had before this attack. So, sounds interesting if you're landing HP burn with somebody else. This seems to be on a 5-turn cooldown. Now, fully booked, that's gonna go up to 100% chance. Probably on a 3-turn cooldown, I would say. If not, the champion is pretty kind of like meh. The passive: this champion will not receive any damage from HP burn debuffs. Instead, HP burn debuffs will heal this champion by 5% of the max HP each time the debuff activates. Now, whenever an enemy attempts to place a freeze debuff on this champion, instantly removes it and places it on the attacker. Also places a HP burn debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. The HP burn debuff cannot be resisted. Interesting if you would go against the Suros Frost Spider or whatever is his name. He might work in there. I feel like it could potentially work in there, you know. If you're gonna build him with no resistance at all. So like that, he's gonna get a freeze, change it and put HP burn on the spider. Might be pretty cool, but the A3 is gonna be good for the spider dungeon. I feel like out of the 3 legendaries so far, this might be the best, the one that people would have some utility for it. But again, probably is gonna take us 9 months to collect these champions. In 9 months, you're gonna pull probably a champion that does AoE HP burn, and you're gonna deal with the spider without really needing this champion. If we're gonna move at the next one, these are the champions for the normal Doom Tower guys, and that is Krakart. Okay, Krakart kind of looks like, I'm not even sure. What is it? Night Revenants, I would say? Probably something like that. If we're gonna have a look at the skills, guys, on the A1, attacks 1 enemy, 30% chance of removing 1 random debuff from a random ally. Will not remove a debuff from this champion. So it cannot cleanse itself. The A2 attacks 1 enemy, places a revive on that buff on this champion. The A3 places a strengthen and a shield buff equal to 20% of this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. That sounds pretty decent, strengthen and shield based on its own HP. I like when the skills are like that. But that looks on a 7-turn cooldown. Now, I don't think you can book it to go more than 4-turn cooldown at its best, you know. And the passive increases the value of all shield buffs on all allies by 15 while this champion is alive. So I guess that's a one-time thing. I don't think it's gonna constantly happen or every round. Kind of like meh. I'm definitely not feeling excited about these champions. Thankfully, they're Doom Tower champions and we cannot pull them from shards, you know. So we're gonna get them, probably never gonna use them. This one looks very cool. This looks to me like an orc, a badass orc. Liburga or something like this, that's how you say her name. And the skill attacks one enemy, 50% chance to land a poison. The A2 attacks one enemy, 75% chance to land 2 poisons and a poison sensitivity. The A3 places an increased defense and an increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. That's gonna be on a 4-turn cooldown, looking at the 6-turn cooldown here. If it's gonna be on a 3-turn cooldown, it's gonna be amazing. The passive, when attacked, has a 50% chance of increasing the duration of all poison debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. Actually, let me just take it back. This epic champion is better than all the other ones that we've seen so far. Poisons, poison sensitivity, increased attack, increased defense, AoE on your entire team. This sounds like a decent champion. And she looks awesome, you know? So I'm feeling this one. I'm definitely feeling this epic. And we have the last one, guys, which is, guess what? Is a Skinwalker? Hell no. We don't need Skinwalker champions. This clearly looks like a Lizardman champion. And her kit attacks one enemy, 15% chance to get an extra hit, attacks one enemy, will ignore shield and block damage, places block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. The A3 places increased crit damage buff and increased attack on this champion for 3 turns, then grants an extra turn. Sounds interesting. This is gonna be all about the multipliers. Can this champion smack or no? Increase attack, increase crit damage, and extra turn. I like it. Very similar with what Gamebo can actually do, but he's putting increased crit rate instead of increased attack. And of course, that's AoE. This is single target. I don't think I'm gonna see this champion being used much, honestly. The passive, whenever this champion kills an enemy, decreases the cooldown of the Crown Breaker skill by 1 turn. Yeah. There we are, guys. These are the new Doom Tower champions. I'm actually gonna show them to you again, so you guys can let me know in the comments down below which one is your favorite. I'm gonna tell you which one is my favorite. I'm gonna start with this epic, the orc one. I think it looks like an orc. And probably the dwarf. These two are my favorite in terms of looks, kits. What about yours? This one looks pretty cool as well. And this one decentish as well. But yeah, that's all for this video, guys. These are the champions. I'm personally not very excited, not very impressed with their kits. I am curious to know what you guys think of these champions, and how I specified, if you are interested about what champions empower these champions, I'll be posting that information in my Discord once I'm gonna get the accurate data, guys. But that was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.